This video is for friends over 40, young people. You can skip this. Have you noticed something? Once we reach a certain age, we start to become nostalgic at certain moments. We like to look through old photos, revisit group pictures from the past, and listen to those old songs from back in the day. Sometimes just hearing the intro of a particular song makes us feel like we're 17 or 18 or 20 again. Suddenly, we remember the dreams we had back then, the people we loved, and the regrets we once had. At this point, it's actually our soul telling us that we've arrived at the next stop, that the previous stop is already behind us, and we can never go back. We're no longer at the age where we charge forward recklessly. So, from the perspective of this quadrant, the highlight parabola of life has already passed its peak and is starting to descend. Subconsciously, most people believe that what remains for them is to play it safe, seek stability, and gradually grow old. This group makes up the vast majority of people. They begin, quietly and without realizing it, to be pulled back to the starting point by gravity, which is what we call the Imam Coeli, or the South Node. In other words, we no longer dare to try new things. We feel fear, we are afraid of loss, and we want to settle into a habitual, comfortable zone. This is our South Node and Imam Coeli. It is the comfort zone in our subconscious that we are most familiar with, most accustomed to, and find the hardest to break out of. If, as we reach middle age, we start to feel nostalgic more and more often, this is actually a kind of signal. In fact, whether a person is truly old or not isn't a matter of age. It's about whether you still admit the possibility for yourself. But if you don't admit that you're old, if you refuse to accept your fate and still want to strive and push yourself upward, then the parabola of your life hasn't yet reached its peak. It still has the potential to rise further. From a psychological perspective, everyone has inertia. This inertia draws us back to our old selves. But every time you choose to learn something new, to redefine yourself, it's actually a very advanced form of resistance. A resistance against gravity. That's why, in middle age, there is a watershed moment. The most important thing at this stage is definitely not reminiscing, but renewal. As soon as you relax a little and stop renewing yourself at this time, you'll be pulled back to the South Node. Only by daring to break through can you repeatedly propel yourself towards your mid-heaven sign. So when you find yourself frequently feeling nostalgic, or often worrying about the uncertainties of the future, remember that this watershed moment has come again. You have to choose. Will you renew and break through? Or will you slowly admit you're getting old and return to where you started? Some people might wonder, what's wrong with wanting to go back to where we started? That's the place we're most familiar with, and of course it's very comfortable. But the problem is, that station has already passed. Things have changed, and even if you go back, it's no longer the same stop. You're no longer who you once were, and the comfort is gone. The so-called knowing one's destiny, these three words are actually the most frightening. Many people interpret it as simply resigning themselves to fate. But the way we should understand it is that you become more aware of the structure of your destiny, and you know better how to make choices. So true maturity is definitely not about admitting that you're old and giving up on striving and learning. Instead, we should set out again and again with new awareness and throw ourselves upward once more. So when people reach middle age, sometimes they're actually not any clearer than young people. They can feel just as lost. This is a necessary stage for our consciousness to awaken and upgrade. But at this point, we no longer have the innate advantages to compete with the young, so we need to analyze things more professionally and in depth to understand our current resources and situation, and to see clearly how our energy structure should be utilized in this new era. So the confusion we feel in middle age isn't telling us to exit the stage, but rather to switch tracks. We can take everything we've ever had, all our experiences, and reposition and replan ourselves. This is actually what we're best at, because our experience is our most valuable asset. Even though resources are scarce in the new era of career paths, we still have opportunities.